Hi, welcome back to Leadership is Not Rocket Science. I have with me today again my colleagues Matthew Byrne and Leslie Mitchell and myself, Kerry Irwin. And today Matthew's going to talk about why is trust so important in a leader. So Matt, why is trust so important in a leader?
It's a really interesting topic, right? And I think this area of trust has only come up in the sort of the last 20 years. Before that, I think we were managing the relationship through task, and now we're learning to understand how to manage the task through relationship. And so this is a total flip that we're doing right now in the way that we're thinking. And so why is that important? It's important because CEOs say it is important. A survey in 2018 by Gartner Group said that 55% of CEOs said that trust is going to be the major thing that is going to dictate survival of their organization. And so, if 55% of CEOs are already talking about this, what does that look like? Now, when we talk about trust, everyone has their own little trust model that they've created. And we talk about glass half full, we talk about glass half empty. We know a person who doesn't have a glass at all, right? So no matter what happens, no trust is being created. And so we start off with different levels of trust in what we're working with. But to understand this systemically, maybe I'll draw up a quick model for us in order for us to understand that. And I'm just going to switch to our different camera here in order to have a look at that. So if we look at, to understand something or to teach something, a great conceptual framework is important. It allows people to actually then challenge their own views towards what we're trying to talk together as a group. And in a workshop, it's really great to start norming people about what are we going to have the conversation around. Mm-hmm. And this is the trust equation. And so basically, it talks about reliability. And so for some people, reliability is really important. It's really important for us to talk about that for some people, that's how they measure trust. I can depend on Kerry. She's dependable. She
does what she says she's going to do. She said, I know she's going to turn up at 9:00, and I know that she knows how to do that task, and I can depend on that.
Exactly, right? And so that reliability is really important. The second one, if we then talk about this as a plus, and we then talk about credibility, then we're talking about people's decision making, their judgment. What do we trust that? And I might trust you, Leslie, because you're credible in what you're talking about, and I can take on face value. I trust what you're telling me. And so some people are good. Some people are good in being reliable. Some people are good at being credible. And then there is the third one, which is relationship. And now I'm running out of whiteboard, which is the thing I do really well because I have no spatial sense in that sense. And so when we talk about relationship, we're talking about that the aspect about that we need to be able to trust each other's personality, who we are, and do we actually know that you have my confidence? Do we actually know that you will support me if
you'll back me up?
Yes. And so that's essential for me to be able to be vulnerable, to say that I'm in trouble or I don't know how to get to the outcome that we're both looking for in order to do that. And so that always sits over what we call self-interest. And
What do you mean by self-interest, Matt?
It's a really good question. So, in organizations or in daily life, right? It's what is important to me. What do I want out of this? And so, therefore, I overlay now my aspirations on top of that. And so, therefore, I may have an aspiration to be highly successful in that organization. And my self-interest will be that I'm competing against the two of you for that job. And I need to get that job, which means that I need to be seen as better or a better candidate for that promotion than the two of you. Now, that self-interest will have a damaging effect on the trust between the three of us. It also means that if I'm pursuing different interests, where I'm trying to take away a profit center or trying to understand different ways of profiling my work in order to survive, I might do things that will damage our relationship because I'm looking for my own survival.
Right.
And that self-interest is something then that starts to damage trust. And so we always find a manager that we say is selfless. And we also find find managers that said they're going their own way. They're purely interested in their own success, not our success. And so self-interest is high, self-interest is low, right? And that becomes a big component in being able to build trust.
Well, it's interesting. It raises an issue for me. I remember I had a CEO that moved an entire organisation's office close to his home, and away
self-interest.
from away from where everyone else, the demographic of where all our people lived, and they knew that.
Yes,
and that trust was very much eroded.
Yeah. I worked with an organization. I think we both worked with this organization that had where the CEO wanted to buy an American company in order to be able to remove the headquarters back to America and the CEO was American, and it was
he wanted to go home.
He wanted to go home, right? So
and that worked so well for him.
Yes,
he went home.
He went home, and not
as the CEO.
Not as the CEO, right? He ended up disengaging his whole organization in the pursuit of that goal. And actually, up until then, the organization had done really well in aligning onto that goal, and actually was generating more profit, more revenue, and better job satisfaction over that period of time. And so, when we talk about this, why is trust so important? It's the understanding of where self-interest sits, and then to be able to change that and to have those conversations with those people to talk about common interest. And so for some of us, we are so deeply ingrained in our self-interest that we don't see the common interest. And I always ask this question. I said, are you doing this right now in the service of yourself, or are you doing this in the service of the system? Because if you do it in the service of the system, people will see that there's low self-trust. And then these top three that we have here, this reliability, credibility, and relationship, will become more important. And they start to drive on this. But what I wanted to tell you is that these three terms, reliability, credibility, and relationship, have been researched for the last 20 years. And every couple of years, there's a research done with a significant demographic group of 5,000 leaders in the world. And at some stage, credibility was number one, and at some stage, reliability was number one. But both of those really took up about 70% of the trust equation, and so or 70 to even 80%. And so relationship was always sort of a distant third, which comes back to the original saying: we drive relationship through tasks, which is the old way of working. And so relationship wasn't that important. But now we're driving tasks through relationship. And so all of a sudden, this starts to become more important.
Vital.
Vital. And in 2016, for the first time, relationship was number one. And in 2021, relationship trust itself was at 55%. And the other two combined were less than relationship. And so we're starting to see how these organizations are moving in understanding that trust is really important, but more importantly, relational trust is important. And this sort of changing of that sort of way that we think about the way that this
that
is
mindset,
working.
isn't it? So
It's a mindset shift. And so we find, I guess, in all our work would be the same, is that we find people who are still in the task world, and then they still are building trust through credibility and reliability. And then we have leaders that are in the relational world, and they're building trust through relationship.
Yeah, there's that really extraordinary little activity you do with participants around trust, isn't it? So you sort of ask
what is trust? What does trust mean to them in the participants? And they make a list of what does trust? How do you define trust in the work environment? And then we go through after they've done that list, and I give them the three headings: credibility, predictability, and reliability. Relationship, sorry. And then I say, all right, now list how many of those sit under each of those banners. And without fail, I think one program I had one team that didn't. All of them had relationships as number one. But as you say, Matt, they're focused on task.
Yeah.
So you can use that and demonstrate. And I say, well, from a trust perspective, you've nominated a number of things that sit under the relationships banner. Why are you so focused on task? And it rings true for them when they do that activity.
Yeah. Look, I think that's a really good exercise, because it's not one of the things that I find in working with CEOs and working with people is that if you talk at them about trust, they then become quite distrusting.
You've got to bring them for the journey. It's a really interesting thing. So they've got to trust you. You've got to build a relationship with them that you're actually giving them some information that's vital to their organisation for it to succeed. And that's a minefield that we will no doubt cover off at some stage in these conversations, because that's that key. It's really, I think the whole process of trust is, in all the readings that we've done, and Matthew, you're dead right in the sense of thinking about it over the last 20 years, and that conversations is how's it melded, what's going on, and that is that transfer to relationships. I do talk to people and they say, relationships? Seriously? I have to get to know them? You're my people? And I'm going,
speak to them? Oh, heavens.
to speak to them?
Yeah. And I think these people tend to be 40 plus.
Yeah.
Right? And if you take 20 plus people in the workforce, they're down with relationship. They are really into relationship. And it's because they have grown up with social media. And the whole thing is about relationships, right? Even if you're being cyberbullied or having bad times, it's a relationship. It's just a bad relationship, but it is a relationship. They grow up in these relationships that they have, and they're constantly tapping into their network in order to help each other to go, which is, once you're 40 plus, just doesn't happen. We're still stuck in task.
Yes, well, I won't say all. I think there's lots of people that have made that transition to it, or came in, from that and understand the relationships actually that really strength.
Yeah.
And seeing those people really inspire me, watching them at work, and you can actually, because the effort with this really strong relationship and about that trust between the people is that you'll find out when things are going really well, really quickly, and you'll find out when things aren't going so well really quickly, because there's a safety in that trust and that relationship. Yeah. So it's a really good equation.
And I like and that's a really good statement, because an old dog can learn new tricks, right? And you're absolutely right. Once the people go on that journey from task to relationship, the transformation is quite cathartic.
I was doing some coaching with a person that didn't believe in that relationship piece and had never done it before. I'm sure I've talked about this, where She went off to their Christmas party. She'd never been to a Christmas party ever with her staff. She went there because she discovered, she knew that she had to build her relationships. That was her long-term experiment. She was building relationships. She has a natter with them, conversation with them in the morning. She smiles at them now. She says hello when she comes into the office. And really interesting, I said, so how has it been? She said, extraordinary the amount of work that gets done. The productivity is just shot through, just because it's they're feeling more comfortable. They get to work. They will go to task when they need to go to task. They've had their conversations. They feel relaxed. They've said hello, and they'll go and do their task. And their productivity is so much higher. So it's that building that relationship, giving an environment that's trusting. Really, really fascinating. Talking about trust. Stephen Emma Covey. So Stephen Covey is the other Stephen Covey's son.
We'll take the book and we'll show it to the camera so that people can see the front cover of that. That's the book.
Trust and Inspire.
And we'll put it into the notes section of this video as well.
Yeah, great book. It truly is about making that change from task focused to relationship focused, or that trust focused in that process, and talks about how to do it. It's a great book.
Fantastic.
Thanks, Matthew. That was just fantastic. I think we learned a lot about that. It's such an important piece in what we do on a day-to-day basis to bring our people along and to make that going from task focus to relationship focused and the vitality of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.